Hi, my name is Wendy Gilker, and I'm much better known as Bri's mom. 38 years ago now, I was living pretty much an ideal life. I ran a ski school as a director of an alpine ski school in a small ski village in the Laurentian Mountains, north of Montreal, Canada. I was married. We had a wonderful home overlooking a lake where we water skied in summer, and we literally could cross-country ski out our door in winter. Great friends. We lived in Quebec. You know, 5-star restaurants, wonderful French wine. We were young, tons of friends. We had powder skied in Val d'Isère, France, cross-country skied in Finland. I had spent 2 summers when I was in college, in the summers, hitchhiking in Europe. So it was good, and the future looked great. Then, April 2nd, 1980, our daughter was born, a rare child, 1 in 50,000. 38 years ago, it wasn't even recognized as 1 in 50,000. I think there was like 800 known cases. We were both, it wasn't genetic, we were both tested. It just was a rare child that we had. The diagnosis was Wolff-Hersheuil syndrome, or 4P-, which is much easier to grasp. It's on the petit arm of the 4th chromosome, there's a deletion, and the amount of deletion indicated the severity of the condition. The prognosis was Bri would never recognize us. She'd never move. She'd be lucky to live to 5. And she would have seizures that would take over her life, even with medication. I went home from that doctor's appointment. And the only way I can describe it felt like when I one time took a hard fall skiing and the wind was knocked out of me. And you just can't get your air. It feels like you'll never be able to breathe again. But you do get your air. But in this situation, it felt like I was never, ever going to breathe again. I entered a world I had no idea what to do. I had no experience, no knowledge whatsoever. The only things I had were unconditional love and perseverance, which my parents taught all of us. And I've always been a reader, always loved to read. So I just, where there's a will, there's a way. At least that's how I was raised. So I figured I'm just going to search and find a way. So I kept reading and reading. And the first breakthrough came with a book that seemed to fall off the shelf called What to Do About Your Brain-Injured Child by Glenn Doman, who was the founder of the Institutes for the Achievement of Human Potential in Philadelphia. And there they work with NASA, they work with early learning, but they also work with special needs children, brain-injured children. And that was the first change that changed everything for us. Within no time, I'm doing a stimulation program 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. And within, 8 months, Bri went from being, at 2.5 years old, being totally immobile, to creeping up in a perfect cross-pattern creep up on all 4s. Now that changes your life when you go from not moving to moving. You can now creep out of a burning building. The next breakthrough came basically because Bri's seizures were getting in the way of her progress. And on one of the visits to Philadelphia, I was talking to one of the other moms, and she shared with me that there was this family she knew who was doing something called macrobiotics, and that it was working for their child, their seizure child. I had no idea what this was, but I was determined to try it at least. So I started reading, researching, and making phone calls. And then I am learning a macrobiotic diet, which is a traditional Japanese diet. Within 2 years, and I'll just lead up to this a bit. Bri's grand mal seizures at this point, she was having 6 to 7 a year. They were always 4 hours long. And she was having hundreds of petit mals a day. So within 2 years, the grand mal stopped. And that did it. That got my attention with the power of plant-based diet to change your life. And so she's now getting stronger. It also, when I read the quote that Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine." Yeah, we've forgotten that, but it's true. So now Bri is passing 5 years old. She's stronger. She's able to maintain herself. She's still very fragile. And in this process, I'm learning the correlation between food allergies and seizures. So my knowledge is growing. And at the same time that I'm reading to support her, I have to read to support myself, to motivate myself and inspire myself. And I was reading people like Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, which is one of the 10 most influential books, and Jean Vanier, who was son of the Governor General of Canada, who started the L'Arche communities all over the world. And Viktor Frankl said that in the West, unfortunately, we only value the young and those who we perceive as useful. Otherwise, everybody else we consider valueless. So here I am. I'm caring for my child who's considered valueless, and what I'm doing is considered valueless. What that does because I am basically a single mother at poverty level trying to raise my child. And what that does, it makes life 100 times more difficult, because when you're not valued and what you're doing is not valued, there is no support. Everything you have to fight for. And a quick example of that, it took 27 years for me to get aid support in my home for my daughter, which is, I can't even wrap my head around how that could be. So I'm reading these inspirational books, and I'm reading these motivational books, and I'm changing. So I'm seeing myself and my mind change, because I was brought up in this society that doesn't value what I was doing or my daughter. And it's basically, what did I do and what did my daughter do to deserve this? And it's now changing around, and I'm starting to see, the longer I live with my daughter, that I'm becoming a better person, and I'm changing. And as my knowledge increases, it becomes, how did I luck into having this amazing child? The gifts of Bri. Bri was always interesting. There's Bri. We call that creeping meditation. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches walking meditation. My daughter insisted we crept every day. If you creep with her, you better be present, you better have fun, and please don't rush me, which we all should know about our work. And if I felt I needed to be rushed or busy or something, she would do what we called the awful cry. And when she did the awful cry, it just broke your heart. So you never wanted to, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry to rush you. The other thing was she insisted I be in the present moment. So, this little kid that everybody considered, oh, well, what does she know? Did a clapping hands game, very simple. She would insist on doing that, where she would clap like this, and then she'd switch it up and do these really, you couldn't hear claps. And sometimes she'd touch and sometimes she wouldn't. And then she'd do different claps again and mix it up. And I never won a game in 37 years. So, who is the hurt person here? I think it was me. And, she never amazed me. So this little being is teaching me because I read a lot of spiritual books during this time. She's teaching me what these books are talking about. Here I am eating this wonderful diet, another gift from her, because to keep her alive, she needed this diet. And I needed, as the person cooking for her, to eat the diet to be able to be the best cook possible for her. So she's working on me all the time. Her needs become more my needs, little did I know, because here I am changing diapers and looking after her. But she's really keeping an eye on me. Patience. You go through a lot. It's hard in this society. It's extremely hard to raise a rare child because you're alienated. People really, you're isolated, so you're in a position to always have to motivate yourself. And we lived in, like I looked at it, she kept me, in a way, through caring for her, she kept me safe in this world of amazing plant-based foods, great books, great music, and I just kept gaining from this. So I think there's so many gifts. I'm just hitting on some of the highlights of my daughter. I don't think I would have been forced into the spiritual growth that I was forced into just to keep myself sane because of the isolation and our society. We do it with the elderly. We do it with our veterans coming back. Anybody that we perceive as they're not useful to us anymore, the support disappears. The alienation happens. And I feel that I was so lucky to have this little girl, that she was a tremendous gift to me. That in a strange way, and I know it's hard to think about it this way, but it was like I got to birth this amazing teacher. And our society does not see her as an amazing teacher because she didn't perform physically in the way we all expect people to perform. I remember years ago someone said, "Oh, they're doing so much for the handicapped." And a very nice person. They weren't saying this in any derogative way. And I said, "We're all handicapped." When I think of my daughter, yes, mentally, I'm functioning, and physically I'm functioning, skiing and all the sports and stuff. But emotionally and spiritually, when she found me, and I still have a ways to go, but she left me much better than she found me. Bri was much more advanced emotionally and spiritually than I could have ever dreamed of being. So then on January 5th, 2017, Bri passed away. Peacefully, sorry. She was creeping on a Monday, passed away with us around the house with me. And on Thursday, she passed away of kidney failure. But she had lived 32 years beyond her prognosis. Who wouldn't take that? Who wouldn't take being given a death sentence and live 32 years longer? She was healthy and happy at home. She always knew she was loved and wanted. Everybody in the world wants to know they're loved and wanted. I was given through Bri, Viktor Frankl said this again, that we're all searching for meaning in our lives, searching for purpose. People are having conferences on finding your purpose, And the three things that do that are you find it in your work through doing something of meaning, you find it in love for caring for someone, or you find it in courage through going through difficult circumstances. I lucked into having all three. Every day that I woke up raising this beautiful child, no matter how I felt, no matter how overwhelmed, depressed, afraid, I woke up knowing that I was on purpose with this child. So I can't emphasize enough how I feel that she was the best gift I could have received in this lifetime. And I just feel so grateful for that. You know, in high school I loved this poem, always have. Not really good on poems, more a book person, but I love this one. It's the Robert Frost one, where two paths diverged in a yellow wood. And that path, least trodden, made all the difference. And that's what I got to do. And it made all the difference. I am such a better person than I ever was when Bri was born to me. So now I'm going to leave you with a question that our brains aren't set up to accept. Our brains are going to say, hell no, right away, because we've been trained in the West. But from my experience, I want to leave you with, what if our value systems were different? What if we have it all wrong? And personally, I think we do. What if, instead of having a special needs, rare, brain-injured child is the dread of every parent, is considered a burden? What if that's an honor to receive a child like my daughter? What if somehow you're actually being blessed and this is something to want because the potential growth is awesome? And I can't think of anything that could have grown me as much as that experience. And so I leave you with that question. And this beautiful little one and I thank you very much.